Top 4 Valuable Wheat Pennies, Rare Errors and Market Value. Welcome to Numismatic Vault Extra. Today, we're going to explore some of the most valuable top 4 1-cent wheat pennies from the United States. Coins that have become highly desirable in today's coin market. United States. We'll look at their current market value, rare and exciting error coins, and the special conditions, including rare copper varieties, off-color tones, and different color shades, that have made these coins major players in the collector and investor world. These rare treasures are not just pieces of American history. They are also some of the most valuable coins collectors are hunting for today. So if you're a coin enthusiast, a collector, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is made for you. Let's get started with the first coin on our list. Magnifying, glass-tilted left sparkles. The story of the 1943 no-mint mark wheat penny struck in copper is one of the most electrifying legends in all of American numismatics. It begins during a time when the world was trembling under the pressure of war. In the early 1940s, the United States was pouring every available resource into the fight for freedom, and copper, normally used to mint the everyday penny, was suddenly more valuable for ammunition and battlefield equipment than for pocket change. The U.S. Mint made a historic decision. In 1943, pennies would no longer be struck from copper. Instead, they would be made of steel coated in zinc. Yet somehow, a few mysterious copper pennies slipped through. And ever since then, nothing in the coin world has been the same. The Philadelphia Mint, which struck coins without any mint mark, was running at full speed during wartime. Machines roared day and night, workers pushed harder than ever, and errors, rare but not impossible, crept into the system. It is believed that a handful of copper planchets from 1942 remained lodged deep inside the minting equipment. When the new year began and the presses loaded with steel blanks, these leftover copper discs were struck accidentally. What emerged were coins never meant to exist. Coins that would eventually become some of the most famous pieces of American treasure. To the untrained eye, the 1943 copper penny looks almost ordinary, but its story is anything but. It carries the soul of a wartime mistake, a moment where the unstoppable rhythm of history brushed against human imperfection. In a year when every penny was supposed to shine silver gray like steel, the warm glow of a copper coin became an anomaly so shocking that it transformed into myth. People could hardly believe such a thing could exist. But it did, and its value soared into the realm of the unimaginable. Collectors began to whisper about it, calling it the ghost penny, the miracle cent, the billionaire maker. And as the years passed, its fame only grew. Every child who ever searched a handful of old pennies dreamed of discovering one. Every collector knew that owning a real 1943 copper penny wasn't just an accomplishment. It was a moment of destiny. The fact that it had no mint mark made it even more iconic, anchoring it firmly to the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of some of America's greatest minting miracles. The greatest power of the 1943 copper penny lies not only in its metal but in its symbolism. This coin represents a moment when the strict rules of production bowed to accident and fate. It proves that even in the most controlled environments, rare anomalies can slip through like sparks of magic. And this magic has turned the coin into an object capable of changing fortunes overnight. People say if you find one, never spend it, because its worth could lift someone from ordinary life into unimaginable wealth. Throughout the 20th century, stories circulated of people who found one by accident, tucked in a jar of old coins or mixed into an inherited collection. A simple discovery became a life-changing event. These stories spread across generations, making the coin feel alive, as though it carried its own will. Some claimed the coin found them, not the other way around. And in many minds, the 1943 copper penny became the symbol of sudden fortune. Its color alone sets it apart. Among the sea of gray 1943 steel cents, the copper piece glows with a warmth that feels almost supernatural. It looks like a survivor, a lone ember in a world gone cold. Its wheat ears on the reverse seem to symbolize survival, something that endured against all odds. And that imagery, combined with the wartime context, makes holding one feel like holding a piece of living history. Historians love the coin because it tells a story of urgency. The mint was operating under wartime pressure, trying to adapt quickly, and yet the past, represented by the leftover copper planchets, refused to disappear quietly. Even as the world tried to move to steel, copper's legacy insisted on being remembered. That moment of resistance birthed a coin so extraordinary that numismatists today treat it like a sacred relic. Many experts estimate only a tiny number of genuine 1943 copper pennies exist, perhaps only a handful from Philadelphia. Their rarity is so extreme that even seeing one in person is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This extreme scarcity is what fuels the idea that the coin belongs to the world of miracles rather than metal. A penny so rare that it can become more valuable than gold, diamonds, or art. This is the magic of the 1943 copper cent. And so, the coin evolved into a symbol of hope. People who held tight to their change drawers believed that one day, a copper flash might catch their eye. The idea that a small, humble penny could hold the power to transform a person's life from ordinary to extraordinary gave millions of collectors something priceless. A dream. And sometimes, dreams are more valuable than money. Even today, when technology can authenticate coins with unmatched precision, the mystique surrounding the 1943 copper penny has not faded. It remains the king of American era coins, the crown jewel of accidental minting. Its story is told in classrooms, coin clubs, family gatherings, and across countless collectors' journeys. It continues to inspire the thrill of the hunt. Holding such a coin is unlike holding any other. Its weight feels different. Not physically, but emotionally. You sense the era it came from, the sacrifices of war, the industrial chaos, and the unlikely survival of a copper disc in a world of steel. You feel the silent passage of time, the decades it traveled before arriving in your palm. It is not just a coin, it is an echo of American resilience. Those who own one often say they feel protective of it, as though it is more than property. It is a companion, a guardian of fortune, a reminder that rare miracles still appear in the modern world. The copper gleam feels timeless, refusing to be dimmed by age. And the no mint mark speaks for Philadelphia, America's original mint, making the coin feel like a genuine relic of the nation's heartbeat. In a world where countless coins pass through countless hands, the 1943 copper penny stands alone as the ultimate symbol of rarity. It teaches that even in ordinary places, purse, pocket, jar, something extraordinary may hide, waiting for the right eyes to notice. And that is why it is called the penny that can change your life overnight. Next coin. The story of the 1946 no mint mark wheat penny begins at the turning point of a world recovering from the storms of war. The United States had just emerged from World War II, the factories had stopped producing military machinery, and the nation was stepping into a new era of hope mixed with exhaustion. In this fragile moment, the Philadelphia Mint struck the first full run of copper cents after the steel experiment of 1943. And in that year, among billions of ordinary pennies, a few rare and unusual survivors appeared. Coins that collectors today whisper about with the same reverence given to legendary treasures. To understand why the 1946 penny holds such magnetic power, one must step into the atmosphere of that time. Copper had finally returned to the coin presses after years of being redirected for wartime needs. The sound of the minting machines echoed like the heartbeat of a nation rebuilding itself. Yet because war had disrupted normal operations, remnants of earlier planchets, unusual metal mixes, and subtle transitional errors still lurked within the machinery. Some of the coins produced that year carry the fingerprints of this chaotic transition, making them extraordinary even in their simplicity. What makes the no mint mark Philadelphia 1946 wheat penny so striking is not just its design, but its symbolism. It is the first generation of pennies minted in peace after global conflict. The wheat stalks on the reverse, long symbolic of American prosperity, took on a deeper meaning in 1946. They represented rebirth, renewal, and the return to stability. Every cent struck that year carried a silent message. The world may have cracked, but it had not broken. There were rumors, even as the coins entered circulation, that some 1946 cents were different, unusually lustrous, or struck on leftover wartime blanks, or made from copper blended with trace metals from recycled shell casings. These whispers grew over time, expanding into full-blown legends. Collectors began hunting for specific pieces with uncanny color, warmth, and clarity. The fact that they bore no mint mark tied them directly to the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of some of the most remarkable numismatic accidents in history. Over the decades, The 1946 penny developed a quiet but powerful mystique. It was never about being a simple post-war coin. It was about being a survivor of the transition between war industry and peacetime dreaming. Many collectors believe certain examples of the 1946 no-mint mark penny were struck on planchets carrying microscopic traces of wartime metal, giving them a glow unlike any other cent. Whether myth or truth, this belief only strengthened the coin's aura. Like many wheat penny legends, stories began to circulate about people discovering strange or unusually perfect 1946 pennies in old estates, military trunks, or forgotten coin jars. Some of these coins were in astonishing condition despite being nearly 8 decades old. The idea that a penny could hide untouched through generations added a magical quality to the tale. It made collectors believe that hidden treasures still sleep in the most ordinary places. And while most 1946 pennies are common, the rarest high-grade survivors, especially those struck sharply with original mint brilliance, rose to incredible desirability. These are the coins that collectors say can change your destiny. Stories circulate of people finding a flawless-looking 1946 cent and learning that its state of preservation or unusual striking qualities skyrocketed its value. These tales fuel the belief that the coin has the power to alter a person's fortune overnight. The copper of the 1946 penny carries a unique warmth. It looks like the earth after rain, deep, strong, seasoned by time. Unlike modern copper-plated cents, the solid bronze composition of the wheat penny has a weight and presence that feels alive. When you hold a 1946 penny, you are holding the first whisper of post-war America, a relic of a nation breathing for the first time after darkness. That emotional gravity is part of why some collectors treat the coin as more than metal. It feels like history compressed into a circle. Historians appreciate the 1946 penny because it marks the first time in years that normal coinage resumed. The mint could finally operate with focus rather than emergency improvisation. Yet interestingly, it is exactly during moments of transition that the rarest coins emerge. When old planchets, old dies, or leftover metal supplies get mixed with new production, extraordinary accidents happen. The 1946 penny is considered by many to be one of those transitional children, born halfway from one era into another. Collectors also love the coin for its connection to the human story behind it. Workers returned from military service to operate the coin presses. Families reunited. The economy changed shape. And in the pockets of millions of Americans, these 1946 cents became tiny companions in the journey forward. Every worn-out 1946 penny still circulating today was touched by the hands of people from that transformative era. Soldiers, workers, children, immigrants, parents building new lives. Some special 1946 cents with mirror-like surfaces or unusually sharp detail are believed to have been early strikes of the year, when the dies were fresh and the presses were perfectly calibrated. These early strikes, breathtaking in their clarity, are the examples that collectors dream of. A rare early strike preserved for decades can command heights of value so immense that people joke it's a penny that can make you a billionaire. Many legends emerged around the 1946 penny, claiming that some were made with metal sourced from recycled wartime shell casings. Whether true or not, this belief adds an emotional dimension to the coin. The idea that the war was melted down and reborn into peaceful currency makes the penny feel like a symbol of transformation, the literal turning of weapons into tools of everyday life. The 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny has become a quiet giant in the world of American collectibles. It is not loud or ostentatious. It does not flaunt itself like other famous rarities. Instead, its power lies in its subtlety, its history, and the possibility that a rare survivor in immaculate condition could hold life-changing value. It is the coin of silent legends, of collectors who know how to see what others overlook. Today, the 1946 penny remains a favorite among enthusiasts, not just because of value but because of meaning. It represents a nation rebuilding, families healing, industries shifting, and hope returning after years of darkness. When you hold it, you feel the pulse of 1946. Steady, strong, rising again. And that is why this coin, though born in a common year, has the reputation of a treasure capable of transforming fortunes. People believe that if you ever find the right 1946 no-mint mark penny, the special one, the flawless one, never spend it. Hold it. Guard it. Because its story, its metal, and its mystery carry the potential to change your future overnight. Next coin. The 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny comes from a moment in American history when the nation was standing at the edge of transformation. The war was far behind, the economy was expanding, and the American dream was being shaped in the hearts of millions. In the midst of this era of booming confidence, the Philadelphia Mint struck billions of cents, but among them, a few extraordinary survivors emerged. These rare, unexpectedly perfect coins would later rise in value, becoming legends among collectors who believe they possess the kind of power capable of changing someone's fortune overnight. To understand the emotional weight carried by the 1956 penny, you must imagine the mood of America at the time. Families were buying their first homes, highways were stretching across states, and the mint was working with renewed precision. Yet even with the efficiency of the 1950s, small mysteries still found their way into production. A tiny handful of cents emerged with powerful luster, strong impressions, and the unmistakable glow of copper untouched by time. These are the coins that today ignite dreams of wealth, turning an ordinary penny into something priceless. The design of the wheat penny had already become iconic by 1956, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the twin wheat stalks on the reverse representing America's agricultural strength. But in this year, the symbolism deepened. The wheat stalks represented abundance during a decade where prosperity seemed limitless. The 1956 cent captured that spirit, the feeling that the country was rising every day, that there was more opportunity than ever before, and that even a penny could represent possibility. Collectors have long whispered that some 1956 Philadelphia cents carry an almost electric shine, a vibrancy in the metal that sets them apart. Whether produced from freshly polished dies, or struck on high-quality copper planchets that slipped unnoticed into the minting presses, these exceptional pieces stand out the moment they are seen. They look alive, as if the coin is holding a spark of the decade itself. Its music, its optimism, its momentum. Stories began appearing over the years of people discovering near-perfect 1956 pennies tucked in desks, old jars, and forgotten wallets. Some of these cents possessed such untouched brilliance that collectors compared them to rare jewels. And because so many 1956 pennies were circulated heavily, the survival of a flawless one became even more miraculous. It made people believe that rare treasures can hide in the most ordinary corners of life. The 1956 penny also carries historical significance because it represents the final stretch of the wheat penny era. Just 3 years later, the design would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, ending a chapter that had defined American coinage for half a century. That makes the 1956 issue feel like a farewell, a last golden breath of the wheat design before it transformed forever. This emotional shift gives the coin a depth that collectors feel instantly. Some of the most valuable 1956 cents come from early strikes, coins made when the dies were brand new, the machines perfectly aligned, and the copper still holding its full rich color. These early strike coins can achieve unbelievable levels of detail. Lincoln's hair, the crisp rim edges, the clean lines of the lettering. When such a coin survives untouched for decades, its value can soar so dramatically that people jokingly call it the penny that can make you a billionaire. Legends grew around certain 1956 cents believed to have been struck from leftover copper blended differently than standard planchets. Whether these stories are myth or truth is almost irrelevant. The mystery itself attracts collectors. A rare metal mix, even subtle, can make a coin appear warmer, more radiant, or unusually smooth. These subtle visual differences make some 1956 pennies impossible to ignore once they catch the light, causing collectors to compete fiercely for ownership. The copper of the 1956 penny carries a glow that feels almost nostalgic. It's the warm reddish-brown of old barns, dusty baseball fields, and sunlit afternoons of the 1950s. It feels like a piece of a simpler era, a physical time capsule from a decade of jukeboxes, drive-ins, and classic American optimism. Holding one of these coins is like holding a memory, and collectors treasure that sensation deeply. Many people overlook the 1956 penny because it is considered a modern wheat penny, but experienced collectors know better. They understand that rarity is not always about mintage numbers. It is about survival. A 1956 penny that has survived perfectly, with its original shine and sharpness, is exponentially rarer than 100 ordinary ones. And it is these rare survivors that can command astonishing value. The no mint mark on the 1956 penny adds another layer of mystery. It marks the coin as a product of the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of some of the finest American numismatic treasures. Philadelphia had the most sophisticated machinery at the time, producing coins with superior detail. That means the finest versions of the 1956 penny often come from this very mint, further boosting their desirability. Some collectors believe that the 1956 penny is a symbol of hidden opportunity. It reminds them that life can change in an instant, that something small and overlooked can carry immense value. Many stories exist of people finding a pristine 1956 cent, getting it examined, and discovering its worth is far greater than they ever imagined. These stories keep the legend alive, fueling the idea that the coin can change your fortune overnight. Today, the 1956 no mint mark wheat penny has become more than a collector's item. It has become a symbol of the extraordinary hiding within the ordinary. It represents a bridge between eras, between the heart of mid-century America and the modern world. It carries history, beauty, and the rare possibility of unimaginable worth. And that is why collectors say, if you ever find a flawless 1956 penny, bright, sharp, glowing, almost untouched by time, hold on to it. Guard it. Never spend it. Because such a coin is not just copper. It is luck, history, mystery, and potential woven into one. It is a small treasure with the silent power to change your destiny in a single moment. Next coin. The 1944 no mint mark wheat penny. The copper that could change a destiny. In the vast universe of American coinage, very few coins carry the mysterious aura of the 1944 no mint mark wheat penny. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary copper cent, the kind millions of Americans once flipped casually into piggy banks or tucked into coat pockets. But hidden beneath its humble face lies a history woven with wartime urgency, minting miracles, and a rare twist of fate that turned this simple coin into one of the most captivating treasures in the U.S. coin market today. To understand why this coin holds such gravity, you must travel back to the heart of the 1940s. America was roaring through World War II. Metal supplies were strained, and every ounce of copper was considered precious for the war effort. Ammunition shells, military wiring, radios, and vital machinery all demanded copper, forcing the U.S. Mint to rethink their strategy. And in 1943, this pressure famously led to the creation of the steel cent, an unusual silvery penny that shocked the public. By 1944, however, the nation demanded a return to the familiar copper coin that symbolized stability during uncertain times. The mint scrambled to readjust, melting leftover ammunition casings and war scrap into new copper planchets. These recycled materials created a copper unique in texture and tone, giving 1944 pennies a story that no other year can replicate. For collectors, that alone makes the 1944 penny stand apart like a relic forged from the fire of history. Most of the 1944 cents were created smoothly, but the chaos of war production always left room for accidents. Accidents that today are worth unimaginable amounts. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced the no mint mark coins, struck millions of pennies. And yet, in that ocean of copper, a few extraordinary mistakes were born, errors so rare that they became legends whispered among coin collectors. The most extraordinary of these stories is the 1944 copper cent that turned out to be struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year. While this is technically a different coin, it is forever tied to the mythos of the 1944 penny era, making the no mint mark version glow even brighter in the eyes of collectors. People began to wonder, if such an error could exist, what other miracles could be hiding inside the 1944 production run? Over time, rumors spread of unusually sharp strikes, off-center mintings, doubled details, and even extraordinary copper variations within 1944 no mint mark pennies. Collectors started calling them fortune seeds, because holding one meant holding a tiny piece of wartime America. Its fear, its courage, its innovation. And sometimes, these tiny pieces carried financial power far beyond their 1-cent label. This is where the legend takes its most dramatic turn. In the modern coin market, where rarity commands reverence and historical value commands fortune, certain 1944 no mint mark wheat pennies have stunned the world with astonishing prices. Stories circulate of collectors paying enormous sums for the right combination of shine, error, and historical appeal. These coins became symbols of unexpected wealth, proof that something small, overlooked, and ordinary could transform into a life-changing treasure. Imagine someone discovering a 1944 penny in an old family trunk, a rusted jar, or even hidden beneath floorboards. The thrill of uncovering a coin from an era of gas rationing, black and white newsreels, and silent heroism is already powerful. But realizing that this penny, this tiny copper relic, might be worth thousands, or even more, turns the discovery into a moment of destiny. The 1944 no-mint mark penny carries another mystique. It represents the last true breath of the early wheat penny era before the mint began shifting toward more modern machinery and production systems. It is one of the final coins struck entirely under wartime pressure, by hands and machines running under the weight of history. Collectors treasure these emotional fingerprints. They look for the ghost of history carved into every ridge. Copper itself plays a special role in this story. During the war, it was considered red gold. The same metal needed for victory also shaped the 1944 penny. This shared material binds the coin to the battlefield, to the factories, to the sweat and sacrifice of millions of Americans. That emotional connection cannot be bought or reproduced. It lives only within coins like this one. Over the decades, the 1944 no-mint mark penny has become a storyteller. Every scratch speaks of a hand that once held it. Every shine hints at the pockets it passed through. Perhaps it bought candy for a child in 1946, or traveled in the overalls of a soldier returning home. These untold journeys give the coin a soul, a personality, a magnetic charm that collectors can feel instantly. Modern collectors say that owning a 1944 wheat penny feels like holding a whisper from the past. And the rarest variations of this penny, especially those preserved in near-perfect condition, are known to command astonishing prices at auctions. Some have climbed into amounts so high they barely seem real. That's why people claim this coin can change your fortune overnight. Because for a lucky few, it genuinely has. Of course, not every 1944 penny is worth a fortune. Millions were made. But the ones with exceptional condition, unique strikes, or rare historical fingerprints can leap far beyond expectations. This unpredictability keeps collectors searching with glowing excitement. Because in the world of coins, the boundary between ordinary and legendary is often just one microscopic detail. For many, the appeal of the 1944 penny is more than money. It represents the idea that value can be hidden in plain sight, that greatness can lie in something small, and that history doesn't just belong in museums. It can rest quietly in your home, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And so, the 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny continues to shine brighter with each passing year. Not just as a coin, but as a symbol of mystery, hope, and possibility. If you ever find yourself holding one, treat it not as a simple cent, but as a survivor, a storyteller, and perhaps a pathway to an unimaginable fortune. One coin, one moment, one chance to transform your destiny forever.